Purushotama Shri Galima Jagannatha Dasa
Purushottama Shri Galima Jagannatha Dasa
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya Dvija Haridasa
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya Haridasa Purushottama Shri Galima Jagannatha Dasa Purushottama Shri Galima Jagannatha Dasa Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya Dvija Haridasa Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya Dvija Haridasa
Purushotama Shri Galima Jagannatha Dasa
Purushottama Shri Galima Jagannatha Dasa
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya Dvija Haridasa
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya Dvija Haridasa. Word for word. Purushottam.
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 Shri Galima.
Shri Galima.
Shri Galima.
Shri Galima.
Jagannatha Das.
Jagannatha Das.
Jagannatha Das.
Jagannatha Das.
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya.
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya.
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya.
Shri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya.
Dvija Haridas.
Dvija Haridas.
Dvija Haridas.
Dvija Haridas.
Translation.
You can squeeze it and then press Control plus.
So like that and then plus. Thank you. You're expert. The 68th branch of the original tree was Purushottam. The 69th was Shri Galima. The 70th was Jagannatha Das. The 71st was Sri Chandra Shekhara Vaidya. And the 72nd was Dvija Haridas. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaicharan Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya, there is some question about whether Dvija Haridas was the author of Ashtottara Shatanam. He had two sons named Sridham and Gokulananda, who were disciples of Sri Advaita Acharya. Their village, Kanchanagadia, is situated within 5 miles of the Vajarasao station, the 5th station from Azimganj in the district of Murshidabad in West Bengal. Shri Shri Radha Parishishwara ki jai. Shri Shri Jagannath Baladev Supada Mahalani ki jai. Shri Shri Nitai Sachisuta ki jai. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamaram Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagra Jatam Sagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Sarasvate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Let's read the verse again. The 68th branch of the original tree was Purushottam. The 69th was Sri Galima. The 70th was Jagannath Das. The 71st was Sri Chandrasekhara Vaidya, and the 72nd was Dvija Haridas. So, today, aside of this verse, it's also a special event, as we mentioned this morning after Mangalarati, is the disappearance day of Ramananda Roy, a very intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. And yeah, we will discuss definitely about his disappearance, about his glories as being a close associate of Lord Chaitanya. Especially because when I tried to look for, different information about these personalities mentioned in today's verse, my research went not very far, to be honest with you. I couldn't find many details or pastimes with these devotees. So we will be limited in our the expansion about this verse. So still we can mention a few things that are in connection with the purport, especially regarding Dvija Haridas. So Dvija Haridas, I found that he was a disciple of Shyamananda Pandit, and he had these two sons, Sridham and Gokulananda, who were themselves disciples of Sri Advaita Acharya. So Sri Advaita Acharya is one of the members of the Panchatattva. And also it is mentioned in the Anubhashya of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur that he's the author of Ashtotara Shatanam. Every time we glorify the Guru Parampara after some arati, there is this Ashtotara Sata Shishima the Bhaicharan Bhaktivedanta. Ashtotara Shata means the 108th, and here it is about the 108 names, Nama. Can any one of you share if he knows the names of whom? Is it about the names of Lord Chaitanya? Because I found some bhajan about the 108 names of Lord Chaitanya, but yeah, here it is the author of Ashtotara Shatanam, but of whom? This I don't know. Anyway, these are the little information we can have about Dvija Haridas. Anyway, about this chapter, if they are mentioned in this Chaitanya Charitamrita by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, definitely they are very much relevance for us. And to connect with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who is the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he used to say that morning and evening we should beat our mind with the shoes, or in the morning with the shoes and in the evening with the stick. And this beating of our mind with the shoe represents actually one practical application, and less damaging probably for our body, is to remember the associates of Lord Chaitanya. So this is a way for our mind when we wake up to kindly, peacefully beat our mind by remembering the associates of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as you see today, we are reaching the 112th shloka of this chapter. So there is even more than that, that will come later on. And each of them has some significance. And even if we don't know much about them, we can pray for their mercy so that we can enter into the service and please them by serving Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, especially in regard to spreading the Sankirtan movement. Today afternoon will be a wonderful opportunity to spread the Sankirtan movement of Lord Chaitanya in Paris with the Harinam Sankirtan. in Saint-Michel. Saint-Michel used to be a quite famous place back then for the devotees. A lot of Harinam was going on. We even had a center next to Saint-Michel, a Bhakti center there. So many things happen in Saint-Michel next to Notre Dame. Did you already encounter this place before? Yeah, you already went this week? Or not? You don't know. Maybe you went to Châtelet-Léal or other places, but not Saint-Michel. Recently, last year or 2 years ago, we had the opportunity, the great mercy of Indradumna Maharaj, who came with a group of 50 devotees, and it was a wonderful, wonderful occasion to go all around the Saint-Michel area with the group, party, dancing and singing. Everyone was stunned like this. They saw everyone nicely dressed and singing and playing instruments. They were just stunned like this, could not say anything. It was a bit too fast, to be honest, to try to distribute books behind, but it gave a very strong impression for those who were attending this festival. To come back on this most auspicious day of the disappearance day of Ramananda Roy, first of all, we can wonder, but why is it auspicious if he disappeared? And actually, be it an appearance day or disappearance day, both are auspicious, and we can connect, we can have the analogy with the sun. When the sun disappears in one place, it means that he appears in another place. So in the same way, when an associate of the Lord appears in one place, it means he disappears from another place, and if he disappears from one place, he appears in another place. And these disappearance days are an occasion to remember them, to remember about their glorious pastimes, and you can feel some extra mercy to connect with them on these particular days. So we'll try to follow the instruction of Nectar Devotion and try to glorify his pastimes, his mission, his service for Lord Chaitanya. In the Gaura Ganodesha Dipika, who is helping us to understand who is who in Krishna Lila and Gaura Lila, it is mentioned that he is actually incarnation of, in Gaura Lila, of Vishaka, who is a close associate of Radharani, and also in some, according to other, this we can read in the purport of the next verse, of further verse in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, that he was also considered by others as incarnation of Lalita, maybe. Another thing we can share about Krishna Lila is that he was, his father Bhavananda, once they had a discussion with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed him as Pandu, and explaining that Ramananda Roy was one of the 5 children, and in that connection, he is considered Ramananda Roy as being Arjuna. So we can understand by this example how important he is in the life of Lord Chaitanya, and why he had so close service with him, and considered as the 3.5 close intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya. Do you happen to remember who are the 3.5 intimate associate of Lord Chaitanya? I think we mentioned them this week. Could you help me? Swarup Damodar. We heard in the translation of the bhajan we sang that he's the secretary of Lord Chaitanya. Sikhi Mahiti. Thank you. Ramananda Roy, very good. And
sisters of
yes, and both of them, Sikhi Mahiti and his sister Madhavi Devi, they were made servants of Srimati Radharani, and I found out that Sikhi Mahiti was Ragalika, and Madhavi Devi is Kalakeli. So in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastime, yeah, they had close, intimate relationship with the Lord. But to focus today on Ramananda Roy, we can remember that he is, he was a governor, not a king, but a governor of a king, and he was born in the region of Orissa, and he used to be a grihastha, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu glorified him, saying that he has the same level of renunciation as Sanatana Goswami, which is, as you may know if you encountered his pastimes with Sanatana Goswami, that it's quite a very elevated level of renunciation. Once Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu invited him for honoring prasadam in Jagannath Puri. Don't remember the place. It finishes with Tota. It's probably a temple there. I can't remember. And on the way from his place to this temple to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, actually, instead of taking the path, the normal path, Sanatana Goswami took the path beach, and it was a very, very hot weather. So the sand was burning hot. It was scorching heat. And so still, Sanatana Goswami decided to take the beach side to reach Lord Chaitanya. And when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu noticed that his feet were hurt, he said, "But why did you go to the beach with this scorching heat?" And there, Sanatana Goswami explained that he didn't want to use the normal paths because he felt himself contaminated, so much so that he didn't want to contaminate the path for the servants of Lord Jagannath, of Jagannath Puri, you know, all those who go for worshipping the Lord. He considered them as more important than himself, purer than himself, and he didn't want to contaminate the path by his contaminated body. So this was his level of consciousness, of renunciation, trying to sacrifice his own comfort, body comfort, or whatever comfort, to respect others and to please his Lord. Of course, Lord Chaitanya externally manifested some bewilderment, but internally was very pleased with his beloved Sanatana Goswami. It is also mentioned that, yes, we should not imitate the humility of Sanatana Goswami in this connection, as well as we should not imitate the tolerance of Haridas Thakur, not the same one as the one mentioned in the verse. Haridas Thakur was beaten in 22 marketplaces and still being beaten by those who were torturing him. He was simply absorbed in the holy name of the Lord and was not under any anger towards those who were torturing him. He was still well-wishing for them. And so, absorbed in his service to Lord Chaitanya, actually, he was not affected also by this conditioning of being tortured, being whipped on these marketplaces. Even though it was quite harsh whipping by these persons, still, because he was absorbed, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself protected him. And he protected him by taking the beatings on his own body. This was further revealed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So we cannot imitate that. We cannot fake our level of tolerance. We may pretend to be tolerant, but somehow or other, if it's not our level, it will come out in another form. So as aspiring devotees, we try to be honest with ourselves and express whenever someone reaches our limit, our level of tolerance. We should try to do a little more than usual, but at the same time also be honest with ourselves and try to express our difficulty, our feelings with this devotee in a way that we wish to help. We wish to keep a good relationship with this devotee if it happens. And it will happen. And it happens probably every day. Our tolerance is challenged every day, especially when you live in a temple with devotees, like you are every day serving together, and because we are busy with services, sometimes we just don't have time, or we don't make time, to be more precise, to explain the things correctly, to deal with the emotions of devotees, to ask how they are doing, to glorify their service. And so like this, it creates some kind of tension inside between all devotees. And then our tolerance is more challenged. But we should remember that first, it's very important to glorify the devotees. This will help all the rest, actually. If we glorify the devotees, then it means we are not in the negative mindset of criticizing the devotees, which is considered to be one of the 10 offenses, isn't it? So this will be more favorable for us. And then all the rest will follow, because if we glorify someone, it means we also develop our natural humility, and we are more Trinadapi Sunichana and pleasing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in that way. And so, yeah, everything becomes more tolerable in that regard. Another character who is mentioned is Damodar. Damodar, how he was rule-oriented and was following strictly the rules, and we should not imitate that. We should find the proper balance in following the rules, and sometimes we cannot follow strictly the rules, otherwise it will compromise a relationship with a devotee or with a non-devotee who will not understand what we are doing and will wonder what's going on. A very simple example for that, it happened to me when I was chanting in the transport, public transport. That someone was watching at me like, what is doing, what is this guy doing, like, what is in his bag? And it was a moment when it was the period of a terrorist attack in France. So this person, we're watching like, what's going? Is it a gun that he has in his bag? What is he doing? And he's mumbling something. Maybe he's doing a prayer like before making a terrorist attack, So, I should I should exit this metro, I should change. I saw that some bewilderment from them, and I didn't know what to do, And I remember some years ago also I was using a clicker. You know this clicker, metallic one with a click, but a real bomb clicker. You saw this one? And I was doing click, and the other was looking, but what is this? It's a really creepy one. After this episode, when I saw the reaction of the person, I said, okay, I should stop to use this clicker. They were really troubled by this. They were looking at me like, if you move one inch, I will punch your face. It was like this, I felt. And for the one who saw my japa bead bag, I just decided to put it around my neck, and I felt like the person was really for the remaining of the trip, but still exited at the next stop and took the other wagon. So we have to understand that, some rules are there, but sometimes we have to...
It's their ignorance.
It's their ignorance, but we should try to help. We should not disturb them. And actually, if you look at it, we are not supposed to chant our rounds in the transport also. So in the if we follow the golden standard, we should be sitting, doing our japa, just focusing on this. So this is also on our side to remember that. And if we are disturbing others, this is not the point. Rules, regulation, they should be followed to the extent that it helps us to remember the Lord and not forget Him. If it is not in that direction, then it is misused. And regarding Ramananda Roy, he exhibited the quality of a dhira. How can we understand that? And definitely we should imitate that, for sure. You will understand directly why. One of his contributions to the mission of Lord Chaitanya, it is mentioned that he was a very learned scholar and expert in sharing the scripture, about the scriptures, with simplicity and clarity. This is emphasized. Aside that, he wrote some songs and he was a governor, a very qualified governor. And he used to have some artistic engagement for the Lord. He was composing songs, but not only. He was also teaching how to dance for the Lord. Is it Odyssey dance for Lord Jagannath? Yeah, Odyssey, no? The name of the dance. And this Odyssey dance requires some kind of preparation of the body. So Ramananda Roy not only was teaching this dance, was teaching to Matajis, and he was also helping to prepare their bodies, meaning to massage them. And in that regard, he was considered to be dhira. He was not at all disturbed, neither emotionally, neither physically, by massaging these dancers. And that's why he is considered to manifest this quality of dhira, stable, fixed, focus on his seva, not on anything else. On our level, definitely, we can definitely not imitate even a tinge of that. We know that it will be detrimental for our path. So these are, one of the great qualities of Ramananda Roy that he exhibited. What we can remember about Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya, first we can remember about their meeting. Once Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, after realizing the exalted qualities of Ramananda Roy, suggested to Lord Chaitanya before he started the tour in South India to meet with Ramananda Roy. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, being in a renounced order, was not supposed to encounter governors, kings, and so on, but on the request of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he agreed, and so he started his tour, and along the bank of the Godavari river, he took his bath, and after he went out of his bath, he started chanting the holy name of Krishna, and he saw in the long distance a effulgent personality who was on a palanquin with all brahmanas around chanting Vedic mantras, who was going also to the Godavari river for bathing. And he was wondering, is it Ramananda Roy? So after Ramananda Roy finished his bathing and offering water to the Godavari, he saw in the distance also Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who appeared to him as being effulgent as hundreds of suns. And then was the meeting, and they could not help it but just embrace each other, and fell into ecstasy in that regard, being so close. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then, after embracing him, inquired, "Are you Ramananda Roy?" And Ramananda Roy, yes, replied, like, "I am your lowly servant, not better than a Shudra. Yes, I am Ramananda Roy. And then the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started to explain how he was glorified by Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, and they glorified Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya for this great opportunity to meet together. We can remember about their discussion also, Samvada, Sambandha Samvada, which is very deep philosophical insights about the path to Prema Bhakti. There are different steps in their discussion that help us to understand that from Varnashram institution to Prema, there is quite some intermediate steps. It starts when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inquires from him. He takes the position, how humble is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He takes the position of a student towards Ramananda Roy, who is considered, a governor, who presents himself as a Shudra, who is Grihastha, and still Chaitanya Mahaprabhu presents himself as a Mayavad, because he received initiation from Keshava Bharati, who is in the line of Mayavad. And he says, I am now your student, please enlighten me on devotional service. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also did a similar thing with Haridas Thakur, who he named the Namacharya, the Acharya of the Holy Name, and also take the position of a student towards Haridas Thakur to just hear the glories of the Holy Name by his own devotee. Here, about Ramananda Roy, he asked about the devotional path, and successively he asked, and what is higher? What is higher than Varnashram institution? Then he explained that there is the Karmarpana, how to dedicate everything to the Lord. Okay, tell me more. What is higher than that? Then about the knowledge mixed with devotional service. Okay, what is higher than that? And then they go like this towards the spontaneous love for Godhead. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is never satisfied, and he asks, what else? What is higher than that? Then they start to talk about the pure devotional service. But Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continues, and then Ramananda Roy start to explain about this rasas actually, brotherhood rasa, parental love, and then he explained the further level, conjugal love, which, if we talk about the hierarchy of rasas, is the highest rasa one can experiment. And in that conjugal love, he explained that actually one particular type of conjugal love manifested by Srimati Radharani is the highest, like this. And so then they conclude by explaining that the unalloyed devotional service to the Lord, without any other motive, really like pure unalloyed devotional service, is the highest platform of bhakti. And when they conclude their talk, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu expresses that actually, Ramananda, you and I, we are madmen. And so on that note, we are on the same platform together. You have the whole knowledge, definitely, and we are on the same platform. You should not say to anyone randomly, but you definitely have this full knowledge about devotional service. So this is the depth of their talk. Of course, there is a full section dedicated to that. And here we are just touching on the surface due to the time constraints, and not only time constraint, but my own constraint of understanding about this topic. Still, we know that it exists, that by the mercy of Ramananda Roy, we can deepen this topic. And in that regard, we can be prayerful to our Ramananda Roy to get a drop of his mercy, to understand deeper this conversation that they had together with Lord Chaitanya, that we can follow his footsteps by serving unconditionally the Lord according to our own abilities, to the best of our capacity, and be constantly engaged in the service of the Lord. So these are the few things I could share with you about Ramananda Roy. I'm sure some of you have more to share, so please do so. If you have any correction, any precision, I would be glad to hear. Yeah, the speech is for you. You want to hear more? So you have to sing, you have to recite more. Oof. About what? About Krishna. That's quite large. We can remember that Ramananda Roy was also acting wonderfully in arranging the meeting with King Prataparudra, because Lord Chaitanya refused to meet with King Prataparudra, considering, as we mentioned earlier, that no, we should not meet with kings. And Prataparudra was trying his best, directly or indirectly through someone, to meet with Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But somehow it didn't work out. Ramananda Roy was instrumental to help arranging the meeting for that. And we can remember how Prataparudra actually came very close actually, not only close, but was directly touching the body of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually went for a nap, then it was a chance for Prataparudra to come in a disguise, not in the king's dress, but in a, could say, mendicant dress, to come to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and to recite some verses of Srimad Bhagavatam while massaging the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya. And in that way, after some time, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is, fully in full ecstasy in this moment, hearing the Bhagavatam and being massaged by his devotee, realized that he was King, Prataparudra, but still, this happened by the mercy of Ramananda Roy. And we can understand from this episode that everything in our devotional life can happen by the mercy of other devotees or the Vaishnava. We are fully dependent on the mercy of Vaishnavas. We cannot serve the Lord directly. We can sometimes not even serve our spiritual master directly or indirectly, but if we inquire, we ask some help for other devotees, then something may be possible. If we don't look for the glories of the service, but to really serve the mission of our spiritual master, of Lord Chaitanya, and to serve Lord Krishna, then we have to understand that we should serve his devotees, which the Lord values more than the worship of himself. He says it in some scripture, I can't remember which one, but it is said that he values more the service made to his devotee rather than the worship made to himself. So this is one of my little realization on that episode. Also, we can remember that both Ramananda Roy or King Prataparudra, as well as Sarup Damodar, they were able to grasp which shloka, which verses to recite to please at this right moment, under these circumstances, how to please Lord Chaitanya. In the context, of course, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is always happy to hear from Srimad Bhagavatam, because Srimad Bhagavatam is not different from himself. It's Krishna himself, the literal incarnation. And so they were able to pick, to extract some verses appropriate for the situation. And this is quite a talent and expertise to find the appropriate verse. In some contexts, we can, for ourselves, look when it's time to give a class, okay, which verse should I remember? Oh, I don't remember this one. It's nice, but I don't remember. And I don't even remember where it is. Yeah. So what to say of on the spot when it's a day-to-day discussion or situation? Yes, there is a verse. I should reply to this person that there is a verse, but I can't find it. So how can I preach to this person? Okay, let's give him some prasadam. It's okay, it will work. But actually, to have this shloka in our intellect is also a way to surrender to the Lord. It's called, there is external surrender and internal surrender, and to actually to express our opinions through the Shastra, not to our own speculation, but to remember some verses, to remember some pastimes from the scriptures, is actually a purification and a surrender on an intellectual level. So it's definitely important and a high qualification. I'm always, for instance, astonished how devotees can remember shlokas in the class, and it feels very natural like this. Very impressed, and I go down to them to one day get some sample of this expertise. But meanwhile, I just, I remember how Krishna Kripa Prabhu, for instance, he's quoting some Shastra and he's, imbibing these quotes. When he says the quote himself, he's feeling something, very deep, because he realized it. Why he realized it? Because he applies. He applies the mission of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who's going every day 3 hours of Harinam Sankirtan. This is his mission for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and we can see how it affects positively, transcendentally his consciousness. Prabhu, you have a question?
What is the easiest way to please Krishna?
Spontaneously it comes to me, please his devotees.
Please the devotees?
Yes. If you want to please Krishna, you have to know him, right? If you want to please Prabhu, Gaura Hari Prabhu, how will you do? Do you know him? No. So you have to know him.
Yeah.
So before he came, I just knew he was the friend of Ananta Kripa Prabhu. I didn't know even his name. Not good. Sorry, Prabhu. Then, thanks to Ekanath Prabhu, I asked a devotee to tell me about this devotee, and I knew his name. But I still don't really know his personality, I see him, but I didn't associate with him. So we need to associate, to make time to inquire from him, to try to know from him directly or from his friends. And like this, if we want to please Krishna, we need to know him, and we can really know him by his close associates, his close servants. And that's why we need the spiritual master. The spiritual master is the one who knows Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada is the one definitely who shows us the path to serve nicely Krishna by dedicating our time, energy, capacities for the service. But the spiritual master will be the one who will help us to understand what is our service and connect us to the Guru Parampara, to Krishna. But to please the spiritual master, to encounter the spiritual master, is not something we deserve. To meet the devotee is not also something we can deserve. It's just, you have to consider it as a fortune, not something we deserve. It's a great fortune. We can consider, but my past life I did. Yeah, but initially, if you look, when it happened that you met a devotee, there is no reason for that. There is no cause. But the mercy of these devotees are considered sometimes more merciful than the Lord himself. Why? Because they will not look if this one is qualified, not qualified. They will still try to get him closer to Krishna by giving Mahaprasad, by giving some, holy name, recitation, giving a book like this. And this is how any jiva in this world can start the devotional path. It can take lifetimes before it sprouts, but we have this responsibility now that we're on the path, that we received this drop of mercy, it's our grand responsibility to share it with others. So we want to please Krishna, let's participate to the Sankirtan mission and share this message to others. No one is more dearer than the one who shared this message, according to Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. This is the best way to please him. Anything else you wanted to share? Gora Hari Prabhu,
Yes, yes.
how can we serve you? How can we please you?
This is a very nice class, Prabhu. Very pleasing.
Prabhupada is kind.
But just one small thing I wanted to mention, just in support of your comment about how we shouldn't disturb the minds of the ignorant by just being kind of not sensitive to what's going on around us. Even with Ramananda Roy and Lord Chaitanya, when they met and they were embracing, all the brahmanas around were getting disturbed by what's going on here. This sannyasi is embracing a governor and they're rolling around, crying, what's happening? And Lord Chaitanya noticed and he stopped doing that. They kind of kept that from away from the eyes of the public. So I appreciated that point. It's quite practical and you can see it even in Lord Chaitanya's dealings with his devotees.
Yeah, you always show the perfect example. Because Lord Chaitanya is the embodiment of the pure devotee, or the one who will serve, the qualified devotee, the surrendered devotee to Lord Krishna. So we can get a lot of inspiration if we study the pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and how he behaves. Thank you for reminding this episode. Anything else you wanted to share? Some questions? So it's 9:05 almost. It's time for prasadam. Thank you. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki Jai. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki Jai. Ramananda Roy Tirubhav ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
All glories to the assembled devotees.
Nice class.
So we have a announcement.
Nice class, Prabhu.
2 announcements to make.
There
First
is-
is good one.
Let's cut the video first if there is bad one. I'm joking.